Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the new iSDT charger, the Q6 Plus. And this is pretty similar to the SC608 that I have reviewed on my channel previously, and I've got a large playlist of videos on that, and I'll put that in the corner on some cards. This basically is a mid-range portable field charger that goes in between the SC608 and the 620. As you can see here, it's rated to 300 watts and 14 amps. And the old one, the SC608, is rated to 150 watts, and I believe that was only 8 amps. So I'll put a little chart here that goes over all the differences in the specs, but basically you got double the wattage and more than approximately double the amperage, and also on the discharge is also a little bit more as well. The other features of the charger are fairly similar between the Q6 Plus and the SC608. Obviously we have a different design here. We have the battery power input on the left here, and we've got the where you plug in your battery to charge, and also the balance port on the right. You've got the same exact size screen, 2.4 inches. It's an IPS display. You got a little scroll wheel here that's on the top, and it also clicks down for your selection, which is a little bit different from the scroll wheel on the SC608, which is on the side, and you would push in on the side here to make your selections. So this was not the best interface. I thought this was a little bit wonky at first, but I got used to it. This new one here is more like a mouse, and it works pretty well. Let me go ahead and turn it on here. So what I've been using for my field charging is this large 6S 5200 milliamp hour battery, and it charges up my 1300 and 1500 mini quad batteries pretty well in the field. I can get probably another, I would say, 6 to 10 more charges out of this. And I haven't actually depleted this large battery in the field yet, but it's nice to have if you want to go, if you bring like 8 batteries, if you want to bring another, maybe get another like 6 to 10 more flights in, you can just recharge the battery in the field. So let me plug this in here. And as you can see here, the screen and the interface is pretty much the same. There's a couple of differences here on the right that you don't get on the SC608, and I think it has to do with a slightly different firmware that's on this version, although the operation and pretty much all the features are identical. It's just a little bit different interface here, and the design of the hardware, and obviously the improved power output and input capabilities. Let me go ahead and I'll plug in a battery. So I've got this 1300 milliamp hour 4S. We'll do a little test charge. So as soon as you plug in your battery to charge, it gives you a voltage reading on this battery, which is 15.2 volts, and then the input voltage is 25.1 volts. That's on this large 6S battery here, and then that also then shows you the temperature of the charger. So you want to keep an eye on that so it doesn't get too hot. And go ahead and we'll plug in our balance lead. So when you do that, normally when you plug in the balance lead on the 608, it would go right to the screen where it would show you all the cells, but I think you have to scroll down on this one. Interesting. It does not show you the per cell. Okay, scroll up this time. So I guess on this version, you would scroll up to get to the screen, which would show you all the different cell values or voltage values. And then normally it would give you the internal resistance numbers, but I think you have to actually initiate the charge. So let me go ahead and initiate a charge here. So I guess to initiate a charge, you just press the button, and then you can set your task here for charging. And as this is pretty much the same as the 608, you have charge, discharge, and storage. So you want to charge, you have multiple battery types, and these are also all the same. You have lithium high voltage on this one as well, LiPo, lithium ion, nickel metal hydride, and lead. So LiPo on this one. And it automatically detected the cell count on the side here. And here we can change our current setting. So I'm going to just do a 1C at 1300 or 1.3 amps, and then hit start. And I'll start charging from the external battery to this 1300. And then you'll see these voltage values increase here. Obviously you'll get a milliamp hour count for how many milliamp hours are being put into the charged battery. And let's see, there we go. So we scroll down and when we get these values for the internal resistance, they don't come up right away. It takes a little bit of time. These numbers are going to be bigger at the beginning of the charge cycle, and they'll start to decrease towards the end of the charge cycle. And there we go. So here we have some numbers that initially popped up. So I usually use this to get an idea of how well balanced the cells are in terms of internal resistance on the pack. So if these values start getting much worse or diverge, so say for example this 9.3 here stays at 9.3, and then the large one here, the 12.4, say that goes to like 100 or something like that, you have a large divergence in the values for different packs. That means that the battery is probably starting to go bad. So something to keep in mind. So we can see here on the charge status screen here that this value here is not on the old one, the SC608. This is a new value on this particular firmware and this model. This is the Q6 Plus. It's showing the number of milliwatt hours being pumped into the battery here, and you can see it's increasing along with the milliamp hours. So that's a new number that we can see here, and also you see your voltage values changing, also along with the temperature. Not 100% sure what the 0 PCS number here. This might have something to do with parallel charging. If you got the parallel board that iSDT makes, maybe that sends some information back to this charger about that. That's also not on the SC608. And we go ahead, we'll stop the charging here. I want to show you a couple more things here on the menu. So if you long press the button here, it's just like the same as on the other charger. You get into the system settings. And here we can set our max input power, our minimum input voltage, change our backlight setting, the volume on the beeps, and also what happens when the charging is done, if it keeps beeping at you. If you only want a single beep, you can do that. If you don't want to be annoyed, you can change your language. There's firmware sharing, and then we have system information here. This is the current OS 2.1. I think on the 608 it's a 2.0 version. So definitely they've made some changes, just a few. And let's go back up here, and I want to highlight this here, the minimum input voltage. You want to pay attention to this, and that's based on what kind of a pack you're using here, because you don't want to go below 3 volts per cell on the pack that's you're using for charging. So for example, this is a 6-cell pack, and so you don't want this minimum voltage to go below, in this case it would be 18 volts. So let me go ahead and change that. And the reason is, if you over discharge your charging pack, or the pack you're using to charge your other batteries, then you're gonna damage that battery. So you want to be sure you adjust this value to whatever is appropriate to whatever you're using. So if you're using a large 4-cell battery, you definitely don't want to go below 12 volts. And in fact, you probably want to set this higher than 18 volts, just because the pack might be a little bit unbalanced, and you might have some cells going below 3 volts. So I would say, in my case, I'd probably set this to like 20 volts, just for a little bit of margin of safety. And then just like on the 608, you have a firmware update port here, which uses like an audio jack. I have a video, I'll put a card in the corner, on how to do your firmware updates if you want to make your own cable, and if you have a FTDI adapter. It's pretty easy to do. I actually updated my 608 through this. You can also buy an update cable as well with a USB dongle. I believe it's about another $10 for that. And I would recommend doing that because They do come up with firmware updates that fix bugs, and you definitely want to fix any bugs if there's anything unusual going on with this charger, because then, of course, if you run into one of those bugs, you might run into a problem where something goes wrong, and when you're charging batteries, you don't want things to go wrong, because then you might have a fire. So definitely look into making sure you keep your firmware up to date on this charger. I did update the firmware on my 608 here, and one of the benefits of doing that is you'll get a very quick startup time, or boot up time. So when I just want to show you a comparison. When you plug this in, it boots up pretty quick. So I'll show you again. And it's up, here in about 3 seconds. The 608, on the other hand, on the original firmware that I had on this before I updated it, it would take a while to boot up. It would go through a self-check, and it wouldn't actually be booted up for maybe like 10 seconds. But after I updated the firmware, it boots up right away, just like the Q6 Plus. So let me show you that. Oops, wrong port. Got to plug it into this port here. And you can see here, it also boots up very quick, just a couple seconds. So that's the primary benefit for making sure your firmware is up to date, so you get all the new features and elimination of the bugs on your charger. Okay, just a couple last things here. This is what the manual looks like. Just pretty basic. Just shows you your specifications and what the charger looks like and what the buttons are and that kind of stuff. Nothing special here. Just wanted to show you guys what that was. And lastly, in the box, you get these XT60 Plus connectors, and this basically for these ports here, the XT60s, they go on both sides in case you have different batteries, like a Dean's connector or something like that you need to make an adapter. They provide you these plugs here to make those adapters, which the 608 does not come with. And other than that, that's pretty much it. This is I think a pretty nice upgrade. It doesn't cost a lot more than the 608, and it's pretty much the same weight. It's only a few grams more than the 608, but you get a lot more power out of this particular one, so you can charge larger batteries at a faster rate. That's what the primary benefit of having a more wattage and more amperage is. You can charge your batteries quicker if you need to, or you can charge larger batteries quicker as well if you happen to have any. Anyway, guys, that's the review of the Q6 Plus charger. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.